it is a song about the greatest mother on the earth, that is the Devi. And in this song, the poet says that, "Oh Devi, can you come and sit in my lotus heart?"
From the Garden State, New Jersey, from one mom to another, it's time for Mom's Talk. Here's Avni.
वेलकम सुपर मॉम्स टू मॉम्स टॉक। आज हमारे साथ में है एक सुपर मॉम, अ क्लासिकल वोकलिस्ट, अ बाउल सिंगर, डॉक्टर उत्तरा चौसालकर। वेलकम उत्तरा, वेलकम टू द शो।
Thank you, Avani.
So Uttara, I want to start off our conversation by requesting you to sing a few lines of a song, if you could please.
Sure, I would love to do it. So, as we are talking about moms today, I would like to dedicate the song to all the moms. And it is a song about the greatest mother on the earth, that is the Devi. And in this song, the poet says that, "Oh Devi, can you come and sit in my lotus heart?" And I would love to see the beauty of your roop, of your, I would like to see the beauty which is spread all over the world. So it says, "Ek bar birajo goma, Ridhi komola shone." So just once, can you come, mother, and sit in my heart? So as moms, we are already having that spirit in us. So let us invoke the goddess and begin.
Lovely, lovely, beautiful.
एक बार बिराजो गोमा, हृदय कोमला शोने। एक बार बिराजो गोमा, हृदय कोमला शोने। তোমার ভুবন ভরা রূপটি একবার দেখে লয় মানয়নে। তোমার ভুবন ভরা রূপটি একবার দেখে লয় মানয়নে। হৃদয় কোমলা শোনে। एक बार बिराजो गोमा, हृदय कोमला शोने।
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Uttara.
Joy Guru.
Your voice has such a great power, such a soulful singing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
और क्या perfect गाना चुना है आपने।
Baul songs are all about, like invoking the goddess, invoking the Krishna Radha, or invoking Shiva, also talking about philosophy. So there is always a song which is fitting to the occasion.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what is Baul singing, Uttara? I know it's not very popular amongst people. So if you could please shed some light on that.
Sure. So Baul is a tradition. These are singers who dedicate their lives in the service of the divine. And music is their medium. So these are nomads, these are fakirs, and the Baul tradition has been influenced by Buddhism, by Vaishnava Sampradaya, and by the Sufis. So it is basically a medium to love each other, to share love and spread peace. And Baul music is a form which hails from Bengal, and it's also prevalent in Bangladesh. And it is a very old tradition, and it can be categorized as a folk tradition because it is very much prevalent in the villages in Bengal and Bangladesh. And it conveys love, it spreads love. So Baul music is part of the tradition, and the Baul songs, there are various instruments which are used for the song. Like, for example, this instrument that I am using is called as the ekatara. It just has one
Ektara.
string. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ektara is a very familiar instrument. We have a lot of varieties of ektara in India. We have different ektaras in different parts of India. So this is basically from Bengal. And these instruments, these Baul instruments are, they are considered to be like wisdom replicas, replicas of wisdom or instruments of wisdom. So it's the instrument itself has its own power, and it is the guide to the singer. The ektara is like considered as the guide. So the ektara is the guru, the ektara is the guide, the master, other than the masters that we have.
So is that why you always have this instrument while you're singing?
Yes, we cannot sing without the instrument. And the scientific reason, or maybe the musical reason, which may say that it gives you an accompaniment, basically. So even when I sing classical music, for that matter, I have my tanpura with me. So there have been great singers in India. So we know about a renowned singer who's no more with us, but late Pandit Kumar Gandharva. He used to say that the tanpura is like a canvas, and on that we singers paint a picture. So without the tanpura or without the ektara, the singer is incomplete.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how did you get attracted to this kind of a music?
We need to go back into history a bit, because I have been learning music since I was 8-year-old. My parents, my school, my family has always been encouraging me to do what I do now. And I learned initial music lessons from a lady whose name is Srimati Vimal Katti, the late Srimati Vimal Katti. Then I learned music from Srimati Jyotsna Mohile Rao. And then I learned from Dr. Srimati Sushilaji Pohankar. And Sushilaji left us in 2007. So, she was very instrumental in shaping me as a musician, because I got to learn from her for almost 2 decades. So it is like a proper Guru Shishya Parampara training that I had. And she was an avid lover of folk music as well. She was an extremely talented classical vocalist and a very knowledgeable one at that. She was also a very great composer. I mean, she created her own songs. She created classical numbers. She touched upon every genre of music that an Indian musician would, and she researched in folk music. So she had a doctoral thesis written about folk music. And she said to me that I have taught you many folk songs. So don't just stick at that. Move on, like gather more. Be like the bee who goes and gathers honey from all the flowers. So then I started exploring, and I found a cassette in which I heard Baul music. And as luck would have had it, within a month, I could go and watch the show of the same lady in the cassette, So I was very excited. I find this lady in the cassette, and lo and behold, she's performing in Bombay. And when I went and heard her, I was completely taken aback, because what she was doing is she had the ektara in her hand, and she had another small drum like this one, which is called as the duggi. Okay. So this is a drum which was tied to her waist. And let me show you one more thing. This is not exactly what she wears. These are different, but we have these kind of nupur. You can hear the sound. This is a very, very small replica of it. But she had these kind of anklets in her feet. And together, she was singing and dancing. And her breath control was awesome. So as a musician, that struck me first. That, oh my God, this is a musician who's singing and dancing and playing the instrument. And she's covering the entire stage. She's also jumping at a point of time, with a joy. So I said, I need to learn this. I was like taken to it. That no. As a musician, if I want to be a better musician, I need to learn this. And I played the music to my Guruji, Sushilaji Pohankar. And she immediately appreciated it. And she told me that you must go and learn from her. And I went and met Parvati Baul, who is my master now. And it took me 7 long years to convince her and for her to accept me as a disciple. And so the year my Guruji passed away, that is the same year when I met this Guru. So it was like as if, one Guru handed me over to the other
To
one.
the other, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, these have been the moments, that changed things for me. And then I went to Parvati ji, and as I told you, she took a long time to accept me because she really wanted to find out whether I'm really keen to do what I want to do. And finally, after 7 years, she asked me to come to her ashram.
7 years?
Yes, 7 years.
Wow.
Because, what happens is people, there are people who want to do things, like I can do this and I can do that. And they just bag a few things and they push on.
Yeah.
So the Baul tradition is so very fragile. I mean, I won't use the word fragile. Fragile is not a right word. It's so delicate. It is so delicate. So, it needs to be handed over to only those people who are really, really keen to do what they are supposed to do. And that is why she took time, because that is later on when we had a conversation and she shared all this with me. So, she really wants to take care of the tradition and give it only into safe hands. So finally I reached her ashram, and then the new journey began where I met other Bauls also. And that is the way it happened.
Lovely. What a journey you've had.
Yeah.
দিন চলে যায় মোর পলে পলে রীতি সরোবরে ফুটিল না রে নীল কমলই গভীর জলে নামের মালা কবে গলেতে পরিব প্রেমে আসরু জলে কবে भासिया जाइबो।
आपने दूसरे फॉर्म्स भी सिंगिंग के सीखे हैं, आपने क्लासिकल फॉर्म भी सीखा है, तो क्या आप अभी भी उन सबको एक साथ में इनकॉर्पोरेट करते हैं या अलग अलग, क्या आप उन फॉर्म्स को भी परफॉर्म करते हैं?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। मैं क्योंकि मेरी गुरुजी ने जैसे कहा था कि as a musician, you have to have all kinds of facets. You must use your voice in all types of music. You should not restrict to one thing. So what happened is, with all these different genres that I had learned, I created a concert which is known as Krishna Nad, the sound of Krishna. So what I have done is, if you go and look into Indian culture, we know that Shri Krishna is a part of every household, every kind of belief or every walk of life. Krishna is there, and Krishna has his own journey from being the lovable child to the naughty prankster to the lover of Radha and gopis, and then becoming a good warrior and going on to become the advisor to Arjuna and the Pandavas, of course. So he has a journey from being a normal human being to being somebody who is like a philosopher and a guide. So this journey can be traced all over through India. So what I did was, I incorporated all different genres of music, from classical to folk to film music to qawwali to garba, baul music, of course, and bhajan, abhang. We have lots of varieties of devotional songs also. So I traced the journey of Krishna in a commentary. I have a co-actor. I mean, I have another actor with me who does the comparing. I mean, he narrates the story, and I sing different forms of music in different languages. So you would be interested to know that even qawwali, there is a qawwali which is based on the birth of Krishna. The qawwali describes that how Gokul is very happy today and how they are enjoying the birth of Shri Krishna. So this itself was very inspiring for me, that oh my God, there is a qawwali which talks about Shri Krishna, because qawwali comes from the Muslim tradition.
Yes.
I mean, there are qawwals who have been like Hindu qawwals also. It's not like restricted. but still, it was very inspiring to know that and learn that Qawwali and to present it. Then there are Rajasthani singers who sing Mirabai Bhajan, and they have their own style of singing it, which is different from the other styles in India. So I incorporated a Rajasthani song. Then we have South Indian music, which has lovely kritis on Sri Krishna. I incorporated one from their repertoire. So this is the way I conceived a program which had all the colors of India and all the colors of music.
Beautiful, beautiful. I would love to see that video of this compilation of all these different sectors of music and the entire journey that you came up with. Lovely, lovely.
Yeah, we can do that in future. I mean, there are some few videos about this program as well, the Krishnanath that I'm talking about, and we can always share them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. तो उत्तरा, अगर मैं आपसे ये पूछूं कि क्योंकि ये एक अलग टाइप का सिंगिंग है और जिस तरीके से आपने बताया, इट्स वेरी इम्प्रेसिव कि आप एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट बजा रहे हैं, 2 इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स एक्चुअली बजा रहे हैं, यू आर सिंगिंग एंड यू आर डांसिंग. So, that is, your mind, first of all, has to be very, very powerful, very focused. जब आप ये इतनी सारी activities, you're doing it at once. So, doing this, इतना अलग टाइप का folk singing में जाना, classical singing की knowledge होना, बचपन से आपने ये सब कुछ सीखा है. तो मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूंगी कि throughout this journey of learning different types of classical singing and folk singing, आप में as a person कैसे इस चीज ने मदद किया?
Right. So the first most difficult part for me was, to get out of my comfort zone and stand in front of the audience and sing. Because, there are programs where you are standing behind a podium, you are giving an address, you are singing a prayer maybe, or you are singing a song for the audience. All that is happening. But basically my comfort zone was to sit down in a baitak, have 2 tanpuras with me, have the instrumentalists like the tabla and the harmonium, and it was like a team, and then I'm singing for the audience. The first thing that had to be done was I have to shed all this away. I was just standing. In the beginning, I was not allowed to use the other instruments. I was just given one instrument, that is the ektara. So, to stand in front of an audience and sing it required a lot of courage, because we have cultural connotations and we have cultural influences. So, standing and singing was not a part of my comfort zone. And I thought that, will I look good? Because I am not a person who has worked on my body that way. As a musician, as a musician, we work on our body. Definitely, we need to do yoga, we need to do pranayam, but you are never standing in front of the audience. So as a person, when you stand, you need to have that stature, you need to have that different kind of a poise. So that was a very difficult transition for me. So then when the first time when I did it, gradually I got into it. And then later the difficult part came when I had to use the other instrument. Because as you rightly said, it needs a lot of coordination. Because this hand is doing something else, this hand is doing something else.
Yeah.
Okay. And it has to be in tandem with each other. It cannot go like haywire. So because I had learned classical music, my tal or the rhythm part was completely fine. I mean, I had mastered that. I had learned that. So being in rhythm or using a rhythm was not a difficult thing for me, but I always had an accompanist with me. I never did it on my own. So here I had to learn that. Yeah. And this all started when I was like 40 years of age. So, you already have those kind of, thoughts in your mind trickling down that, oh, you're 40. So maybe, you will not be able to do this or that. There are those things which come into your mind. So I had to put all them at bay and start learning. And believe me, it is very difficult to learn a new thing at 40. Because you already have your things that you know. Yeah. To try to learn a new thing was really, really a journey in itself. And that too, I had to wait for about 2 years to be allowed to use the drum. Because I always knew that I am going to use the drum. But she said, I'll tell you when it's, my Guruji told me that I'll tell you when it is time to use it. So, I had to patiently wait till she gave me that. I could not have asked for it. Because in this tradition, in the Guru Shishya Parampara, you are not supposed to ask any question in that way. You need to keep the faith. You need to wait. So when she gave it to me, I started practicing and I realized that it's not easy. So, okay, finally, then I got the hang of it gradually. And then the third thing which came into picture was using the anklets on my feet. So not these ones which I showed you. I use these kind of anklets, which are the normal ones which dancers use.
Yeah.
Now what happens is when you put an anklet, it has its own rhythm and it has its own sound. So there is a third instrument in play now. You have these two and you have to match.
Yeah.
Another challenge was that there is no formal training of dance in Baul Parampara. You observe, you absorb, and you try. You never say that you can't say that you got it. You just keep trying. Because as you rightly said, if the mind is not focused enough, the feet don't work. If you are into something else and you're trying to do this, you cannot do it. So we need to do yoga. We need to do pranayam. Even, I have made it a habit that when I perform my Baul singing, I observe silence the entire day. I don't speak. Because that brings all the focus inside. And the most important change that I had to face was that I was singing classical and other genres, which are entertainment genres. I sing them to entertain you, right?
Yeah.
But Baul music is not for entertainment. It is for introspection. It is for contemplation. It is for inward journey. It's a meditative process. So to learn to not sing for the audience was itself a very difficult task. Because all through my childhood, like since the age of 8 till the age of 40, I have been performing. And I have been, and it's not like playing for the gallery, but there are audiences who have come to listen to your music by spending their time, their money, their energies. So you are bound. I mean, you are as a professional, you must entertain them. If you don't do your job professionally well, then you are not doing the best of it. So that was, so I had to learn. I mean, I had to sing which would entertain the audience. But here I was singing Baul music where I am not supposed to sing for the audience. I'm supposed to sing for myself. And in such a way that every time I sing the same song, it should bring about something in me, which I'm not in control of. I mean, I cannot say that, oh, today I had a different experience. No, it's not in my hands. It all depends on how that movement I am focused and how deep I am inside. So
do you have a different, so when you perform the same song multiple times, are your feelings different each time?
Actually, we are not supposed to analyze them that way. But what happens is, with the repetition of a song, jaise hamare yahan in India, we have this naam jap. We keep chanting, even in the Western traditions, or even in Christianity, or even in the Sufi and the Muslim traditions, everybody has a jap mala. Everybody has a rosary of their own. So, why do we repeat it? To improve and enhance. So as a Baul student, what we are told is you just focus on the poetry. You just be the song. So once you try to be the song, every day and every moment, you are a different person. You are changing. You're not the same person. So it automatically affects you. You are not supposed to think about it or find it or analyze. Because when analysis comes, the honesty, the transparency, it gets a little different.
Yeah.
It gets shaded. You need to be very transparent. So whatever happens to me at that time happens. And I, as a person, have to just be there. I'm not supposed to try anything or reach anywhere or aim anywhere. So there is nothing that, oh, I need to excel this time. No, I need to be focused. That's all. So,
This must be
it
very
is,
liberating for you.
it is. You rightly said that. It is. And the most striking thing that I realized about these two types of genres of music is when I sing in a classical scenario, people appreciate me. They come up to me. They tell me that lovely and we love the music and you are so great and this and all that, everything. Yeah. So they really appreciate. When I sing Baul music to the same kind of musical audience, the reaction that I get is completely different. The reaction is a stranger who doesn't know me. They come up to me, they just want to hold my hand and they have tears in their eyes and they just want to, convey that they have been touched somehow. So the difference is that there I get claps. Here I get, many times I get hugs. And there have been times when people want to come and bow down to me, which is like we bow down back then. If somebody wants to bow down to me, I need to bow down back to them because that is the way the love is shared. So, people have told me that they have started on a journey somewhere with the Baul song that they heard. So the Baul song in itself has its own capacity to convey something which I may not be able to convey to you verbally. It may connect you and me in such a way that we both even won't know the way that we are connected. So, it's a process and it keeps happening on its own. You can't be doing it on your own.
I think that shows that it comes from within. That is not something that you're doing it. It is something that is coming from within. That makes it so powerful that it kinds of, touches the viewers' hearts as well, or the audience as well.
Right.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. उत्तरा, आपने बताया कि आप आश्रम में गए थे ये फॉर्म म्यूजिक का सीखने के लिए. सो इस फॉर्म में जितना भी मैंने जाना है आपसे, काफी कुछ डेडिकेशन चाहिए होता है टू लर्न दिस फॉर्म, और उसके साथ ही एक पर्सनल लाइफ भी होती है, सो व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट आपका पूरा अटेंशन, आपका पूरा डेडिकेशन किसी एक चीज पर डालना, उसके साथ में जहाँ फैमिली की बात आती है, वहाँ आई एम श्योर इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी. तो आपने इस चीज को बैलेंस कैसे किया?
Yeah, it is very interesting to talk about this, because when I was first going to the ashram, I was told that I will not be able to be in touch with my family for the next 8-10 days. I'm not using my phone, no social media, nothing. And so, it was like, my God, how am I going to do that? Like, if anything goes wrong, my child was like young at that time. This was like in 2014. So she was a school girl and she was also learning ballet. So I had need to take her to the ballet class and tying a ballet bun and all those things, So, I was worried how I will do it, how my husband will do it. But he is the biggest support and he said that he will manage things here. And when I went there, it was very difficult for me for 8 days, to not to be in touch with my family, but I managed that. And my daughter, who was young then, she told me, Mama, don't worry. I will be very happy with Papa. So it really took a lot of courage. And the life at the ashram is very hard. I mean, we get up at 3:30 in the morning and we do yoga and pranayam and we do a lot of work in the ashram. And it's not a bed of roses. Like, we don't have comfort food there, nor do we use beds. We are sleeping on the floor. And so these were challenges as a city person also to go and accept that. But that passion had struck me and it was pulling me to it. So, I used to feel like if I'm stepping out the house and if I realize that I'm going to the ashram and my daughter is sick, it really was a very difficult time to do. But as I realize now, it was good that I could do it, because I think as a woman, we need to get out of our cozy home and explore our own possibilities, our own capacities. because otherwise you will not be able to reach where you are trying to reach, And
Yeah.
more than that, as a person, the Baul music has changed me internally. So my approach towards my family, the approach towards my daughter has changed, and it helped me, calm down. Because as a woman, we have too many challenges to face. We
Yeah.
have daily chores, we have relatives, we have functions, we have people falling sick, so all that, to manage all that, it helped me a lot. So if a woman goes out of her way and follows her passion, I think the fruits are really, really very sweet.
Absolutely, absolutely. और आपकी ये पूरी journey जान करके उत्तरा, you've shared so much with us, and I think there is, often we talk about giving exposure to our kids of how things are, some different kind of traditions and stuff like that. I think that also holds true for us as well. जितना एक्सपोजर हमें मिल सकता है वो भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है जितना हम हमारे बच्चों के बारे में सोचते हैं। और आपकी आज की पूरी बातें सुन करके, दिस एंटायर जर्नी दैट यू हैव शेयर्ड विद अस, ये सब कुछ जान करके आई एम श्योर कि ये जो एक्सपोजर हमें मिला है आज आपसे बात करके, वो हमारे में भी एक बदलाव जरूर लाएगा।
बिल्कुल, I hope so, yes. And I think, talking to moms all over, like now when I'm talking to you and I will be listening to the other moms that you have spoken to, it's all very inspiring. मतलब हर एक औरत में एक अलग सी क्वालिटी होती है जिससे हर एक औरत इंस्पायर हो सकती है. So that is a wonderful way to connect. I am glad that we are doing this, and I'm very happy.
Thank you so much, Uttara. Likewise, it's been a pleasure talking to you. बहुत मजा आया आपके बारे में जान के, आपकी जर्नी के बारे में जान करके, और जो फोकस की आपने बात करी है, जिस तरीके से आप ये सारी चीजें परफॉर्म करते हैं, ये सब जान करके और भी पता चला कि this is how you can train your mind to do something and excel in it.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Uttara.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Inviting me. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Same here.
Hi, this is Avni from Mom's Talk. Help me spread the word and join me on my mission of motivating other moms by sharing the video. Thank you for watching.